welcome back to my channel. What I wanted to do in today's video was talk about positivity. One of the things that I get complimented on a lot is my energy or how I'm able to stay so optimistic and positive, and the reality is I'm not someone who's positive all the time. I don't think that's actually realistic. I think it's good to have highs and lows in life. However, when it comes to being productive, when it comes to getting stuff done and achieving my goals, staying optimistic and positive is one of the things that allows me to move forward so well in my life. And I wanted to sit down and reflect on why is it that I'm able to be so positive, even in challenging times, why I'm able to stay so focused and optimistic. And I wanted to share some of those things with you today. If you did enjoy this video, I would very much appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. And of course, if you are new around here, why not consider subscribing? The first thing that I do really when it comes to staying optimistic is that I have lowered my expectations but raised my standards. They say in Buddhist philosophy that one of the biggest things that causes so much discomfort in our lives these days is attachment to outcomes. So many people expect things to go certain ways, and when they don't go that way, they feel really disheartened. What I've really done in my own life is that I've really tried to lower my expectations, whether it be in business, in relationships, or with any of the goals that I'm trying to achieve. I don't have these high expectations of myself or of other people, and so I'm really comfortable with whatever it is. And I really raised my standards alongside this. So although my expectations of what the outcome is going to look like is lower, I've raised my standards in that I'm always trying to strive for the best. And I know this almost seems like a contradicting truth to have low expectations and high standards, but the reality is that I just think this is such a beautiful mix of not being attached to the outcome of particular things whilst also striving to be the best version of myself. So I have high standards. I want things to be amazing, but I'm not upset when they're not. I know again, this might seem like a difficult concept to grasp, but if you do want to be able to just move forward so relentlessly and have a lot more resilience in life and be more positive and more focused, you do want to be able to have high standards for yourself, to set big goals, big lofty, beautiful dreams, and have these visions and go for amazing things in your life and feel like you're worthy of achieving them, whilst also not being so attached to the outcome, not feeling like a failure when you don't achieve them. A really practical example of this would be, say I'm going to do a big launch in my business. Of course, I'm going to have high standards. I'm going to say that I want to achieve X amount of money, or I want to have X amount of people join this program. And I'm really going to push myself to try to achieve that thing. However, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't turn around and say, I'm a failure, there's something wrong with me, or I'm unworthy of achieving these goals. Like, I just don't have any attachment to the outcome. I've lowered my expectations in all areas of my life, but still striving for big things. I think that if you can really find space for this mix in your life, it's one of the things that will ultimately help you to just stay so much more focused. I know that when I was trying to achieve certain things and when it didn't look like what I thought it should look like, I really took that on personally. That was the time in my life where I felt the least happiest. So lowering your expectations and raising your standards simultaneously will really help you to stay more optimistic and positive and focused. So the next thing that I really do a lot when it comes to being the most positive version of myself is that when it comes to dealing with negative emotions, I go for intensity rather than longevity. What I mean by this is, I've spoken a lot about the fact that life is full of highs and lows, and that's a good thing. There's going to be times where you are so devastated and upset, and there's going to be times where absolutely amazing things happen in your life. Those highs and lows are just a natural part of the human experience. However, what I used to find is that I used to suppress my emotions a lot, and I felt like there was always this underlying sense of sadness that would really impede into my daily life. Now when I'm upset about something, say something doesn't go my way in life or in business or in relationships, rather than trying to suppress those emotions, rather than just, trying to suck it up, as we say, I really try to do everything that I possibly can to bring on those emotions so intensely, to really feel those emotions so that it can be so intense and I can get it out and it can pass, and then I can get back to that space of trying to rebuild myself to a more positive state. For example, I might sit down and I might listen to some really sad music, love a good, 90s Broken Hearts playlist on Spotify.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
Whatever it may be, like I talk to a friend, like really talk it out, cry it out, like go for a walk, put some sunglasses on and just cry it out, listen to some sad music. I really try to move through the emotions as quickly as I possibly can by feeling them as intensely as I possibly can. Now look, I'm not saying there's any sort of therapeutic or scientific research to this. This is just something that definitely works for me. But I've tried both. I've tried to suppress my emotions, hoping that they would go away, and they just don't. They bubble under the surface, and like I said before, they impede into daily life. And so my general sense of positivity is overall lower when I've got lots of sad things on my mind. Whereas when I have a sad thing happen and I just really intensely feel it, I kind of get to that state where I'm like, okay, now I'm done. And then I can move on to feeling more positively again. And that allows me to bounce back a lot quicker. Maybe this will work for you. I'm not saying this is any sort of a cure for any mental health or anything like that, but I'm just saying we all have sad things that happen to us. Sometimes you might just have your period and you might just feel shit and you might just want to cry it out. Like, I'm saying that feeling those emotions are so good. It's such a good therapeutic experience versus trying to suppress them and then allowing them to just bubble under the surface. Another thing that allows me to stay so positive is that I know how to recalibrate myself towards my vision. Sometimes we get stuck in ruts. Sometimes we get lazy. Sometimes we procrastinate. Even myself, people consider me to be a successful, productive person who achieves a lot in life. There are absolutely days where I don't want to do anything. I don't want to take action. I can't be bothered. I hate the world. I hate everyone in it. That's so natural, right? Again, we're all humans. But when I come out of one of these periods of feeling my emotions or a rut or an unproductive weekend, I know how to recalibrate myself back towards my vision. I know the specific things that I need to do to get myself out of a rut, starting to feel more motivated and excited again. For me, it's going on Pinterest. It's getting myself emotionally attached to my vision. It's reconnecting with my vision. And vision is a big part of this. If you don't have a solid vision, it's really hard to move forward in life. And feeling positive is about moving forward, growth, and achieving things a lot of the time. So if you are struggling to figure out what your vision is and what you want out of life, like always, I want to let you know that I do have my How to Create an Extraordinary Life workbook. I will leave it linked in the description below. It is a free workbook that just helps you figure out not only what you want to do in life, but how to actually start taking those first steps to achieving it. But when it comes to being positive, when I'm feeling really lazy or when I'm feeling really unproductive, of course I don't feel positive in these states, but recalibrating myself through, like I said, going on Pinterest, reconnecting with my vision board, journaling it out, having a mastermind session with a friend, but recalibrating myself towards that vision, starting to take action towards that vision is one of the things that helps me to feel so positive. Like, it's undeniable that the feeling of pride and the feeling of achievement is one that induces a lot of positivity into us. Having a vision and working towards that and knowing how to bounce back, it's not about not feeling bad. It's not about not having experiences of unproductivity or sadness, but it's knowing how to bounce back to that and knowing how to get back on track working towards those goals, which overall is going to help you feel more productive and more positive in the long run. I've spoken about this next tip before, but honestly, this is one of the biggest things that overall helps me to be an extremely positive person. And I guess it comes from the concept of like not putting all of your eggs into one basket. A lot of people, they have very few areas of their life which makes up their holistic experience. Maybe they have their relationship and their job, and they don't really have anything outside of that. I've really built my life in a way where I have so many different areas, not an overwhelming number of areas, but I have so many different things going on that if I fail or if something happens in one of these particular areas, I'm able to really lean on these other areas. You know, I have hobbies, I have my business, I have passion projects, I have my relationships. I have so many different parts of my life that if something happens in my business, I'm not feeling like my entire world is crumbling because I still have my hobbies, my relationships, my passion projects. If something happens in one of my relationships, like I'm having a fight with a friend or something like that, I can really feel the confidence because I can work on my business or focus on my hobbies. I think that having harmony with all of the different areas of your life, but just having hobbies and having projects and having so many different things rather than just putting all of your eggs into one basket is a good way to stay confident. One of my friends, Rachel Lee, she actually mentioned one time that this concept she calls confidence building blocks, because when you do just have one thing in your life and something bad happens to that thing, of course it's gonna feel so much more intense. Whereas like, you know, say you're like out there and say you're dating or something and it's not going so well, but you've got your business and then you've got these passion projects on the side, like you can feel more confident and therefore more positive and optimistic if one of the areas of your life isn't going so well. I'm just such a huge advocate for having your individual things that make you feel really confident in yourself. And a lot of the times that is going to be, yes, your career and yes, your relationships, but other things outside of that as well. So filling your life with an abundance of amazing things is one of the things that will definitely help make you feel more positive. And I have a final like bonus tip. I feel like this is a bonus tip because I use this tip pretty much in every single video, but honestly, I just have to mention it here as well because it is so important. One of the things that helps me to stay so positive all the time is relationships. The relationship that I have with myself, which I won't go into because I made a self-love video a couple of weeks ago, you can go check that out. But the relationships that I have with the people in my life, the relationships that I have with myself, these are such a big part of why I'm able to stay so positive all the time. If something happens in my life where I'm going through something, talking it out with a friend really helps me to get back to a more positive state. I will even say that having this community online, it allows me to have a space where I can show up and be vulnerable and connect with people. Like if something's going on in my life, being able to connect with you guys sometimes really helps to pull me out of that negativity rut. So just filling your life with amazing love for yourself and amazing people is maybe not for everyone, but one of my personal keys to happiness and success. So again, I think I speak about this a lot, relationships, self-love and all these things, so I won't go too much into it. And just to summarize, feeling positive all the time is unachievable, right? However, you can strive to be able to pull yourself out of ruts, to have more resilience and to gear towards positivity for the most part. But it is still really important to experience your emotions, like I said. If you want to feel more optimistic and positive all the time, make sure that you are lowering those expectations but raising your standards. You're giving yourself the space to feel your emotions. You're able to recalibrate towards your visions because unproductive days, they're gonna happen. Lazy days, they're gonna happen. Shit stuff, it's gonna happen. You cannot avoid that stuff, but knowing how to move back towards what it is that you're trying to achieve in life is one of the biggest things that will help you to feel more positive because you'll find a lot of positivity in growth. And then of course, the last thing is as well, having a more holistic build out of your entire life. Not just putting all of your eggs into one basket, having multiple different areas. You don't have to have like 100 different areas, but multiple different areas that make you feel like a badass, that make you feel confident, so that if one isn't going so well, you know you've always got those other things. All right, that is it from me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, what are some of the things that you do to feel more positive? And like always, if you want to download the workbook, I will leave that in the description below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Of course, I appreciate your time, and especially if you stayed to the end. I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.